at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Walk-Ons in Bruley, welcome to the Monday edition Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott. Max Gotro back from his World Cup adventure. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio on a very wet morning here on the west side. Pretty wet on the east side, too. So be careful as you're making your way around. You want to come see us for lunch here at Walk-Ons with not a bad seat in the house for any of the World Cup games you watch later in the week or any football game, any game really. Come on over and sample some of the more than 4 dozen draft beers on tap here at Walk-Ons in Bruley, including all of your traditional favorites here at Walk-Ons. Gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. The only person I think that maybe had a better weekend than the Argentinians and the English was Jay Johnson with LSU baseball. Got a big recap coming up on that probably at 11:30 today. So really good weekend for LSU baseball when it came to the draft. Derek Curiel going with the 5th overall pick. Congratulations to him. Wimbledon this weekend, the last of the Major League Baseball schedule before the All-Star game, which is tomorrow, and the World Cup, of course. So, Jimmy, England and Argentina advance, and Max was there to see the whole thing, including the controversial call in the second game between Argentina and Switzerland. That caused them to play with 10 for the last 17 minutes of regulation. Both of the extra periods, the extra time, came out to almost an hour is what they would have played with 10 people after they had tied the score at 1.
It's not as crippling as, say, you down a man, on a power play in hockey or something like that. I mean, obviously it's a disadvantage, but it's not undoable. I mean, we saw the U.S. extend their lead, with 10 players on the field in their game against Bosnia. I just can't, in the VAR impact on these games is significant. And it seems like that lens is tinted green. And that is to protect the brands, for them to advance, to produce ratings, to produce, higher ticket prices, you name it. But we talk about it all the time where, and it's been a great tournament. And I think one thing has been the underdogs a lot have been more competitive. But, man, to beat the other team and the officials is just a hard deal. And every time, I won't say every time, but the vast majority, when it comes down to making a subjective decision, man, it favors the chalk. And in the end, the chalk has held. I mean, it is first time, how long, the top 4 seeds?
Ever. First time ever in the World Cup.
How long has VAR been this impactful? In the World Cup? Was it this impactful 4 years ago? Was it?
I don't remember it that way, but it's VAR is always impactful.
You answer my question. You answer my question.
Part of it's a recency bias, so I wonder. Because VAR has always created issues, I think. There's, again, some soccer fans think they should do away with it altogether, that they've bundled it so bad.
They're using it conveniently. And it is just, I'm sorry, but there was a clear favorite, traditional power, versus a clear underdog in the semifinals on Saturday. And, I mean, those were really good games. But when they had a chance, they made a decision to assist the favorite.
See, look, I think it's an unfortunate call because now it's a clear flop. If it was his first yellow, it's a clear first yellow.
First of all, for people that didn't watch this thing, explain what happened.
Explain what game we're talking about.
We're talking about Argentina and Switzerland.
Argentina, Switzerland, and Kansas City. I actually missed this play live. I was at the concession stand. But What happens is Switzerland had just tied the match. They had just drawn level, 1-1, and I don't want to say like 90 seconds later, you have a player on Switzerland who's already on a yellow. Second yellow would send him off. He dives. He dives without contact. An Argentinian player goes in for a challenge. He flops without touching a player at all. The ref rules a yellow card on Argentina. He thinks there was contact. He thinks it's a foul, and he gives yellow card. Now, this year is the first year we're having this mistaken identity clause. We saw it actually in the first U.S. match. It was the first time I kind of learned of this rule, in which Tim Ream was given a yellow card for a foul, and it turns out he didn't even contact Miguel Almiron of Paraguay. Therefore, they considered a mistaken identity. They gave the yellow card to the wrong player, and they switched it to Miguel Almiron. The problem is, with this new mistaken identity, you can't take the yellow card away. It's got to go to one player. And when it went to VAR, it was clear there was no contact. So when it's black and white like that, the rule for VAR, it was actually pretty simple for them. It's a clear yellow, in that case, on the player who dove, who embellished contact that was not there. Unfortunately, that's a second yellow. If there was no yellow given live, I don't think a second yellow is given. I don't think it's a red card, because a second yellow, the threshold for a second yellow is so high. This was the fourth time ever in World Cup history that a second yellow was given for embellishment, for faking a foul. So it does not happen. It doesn't really happen ever in a quarterfinal of magnitude like this. Unfortunately for VAR, this is actually not an instance, Jimmy, in which I have a problem with VAR in general or them favoring Argentina. Because, again, the rule as it's written is cut and dry. It's got to go to some player. And at that point, you can't give Argentina, when you look at it on review, it was a clear and obvious error. He didn't contact him, so it's not a yellow card for him. So unfortunately, the way the rule is written, the yellow had to go to the Switzerland player. He was already on a yellow. It's a red card. I think it's harsh just on its own, looking at it. But Argentina has been heavily favored, it seems like. People have a problem with. There have been calls that have gone for Messi, that have gone against their opponents. There are certainly things you can point to. This is one I don't have necessarily an issue with VAR itself.
It's not the only call I'm talking about either.
No. There have been other calls for sure.
Disallowed goals left and right. I mean, score. All right, that's only half the battle. Let's see if we get it.
Did you have a problem with the Norway disallowed goal?
Yes.
Against England. I thought there was significant of contact. I called it live. I thought it was a foul live before they even went to VAR.
Think Argentina gets called with that?
I think so, but there's so many
Think
inconsistencies.
so.
I think so. That's the problem, right? It should be automatic, right? It should be. It's like this for every team, but it isn't, and that's the problem that people have with VAR.
28 games in knockout. How many upsets? Are we counting?
We saw Paraguay
Belgium?
beat Germany in extra time. That was definitely one. Belgium was a slight underdog. If you want to count that, it's probably 4, I would guess. Norway beat Brazil. That's certainly one of the upsets we've had. There's another one I'm blanking on that was a pretty big one. But, yeah, 4 overall. There have not been many. It's interesting, as close as the matches were in the round of 32, with the expansion, we talked about this. Maybe the expansion is a good thing, going from 32 to 48 teams, because look how close they were. Look how
you like that? They're going to 64 next time.
And it feels probably so. And
I'm not joking.
It feels like the March Madness a little bit,
but
right?
They're not going to go to more than 32 in the knockout round.
No, they're just going to go to 64.
That was that's a big expansion from what they went. They doubled, since last time.
Sure.
The knockout round.
And so
we talk about, add all the playing games you want, Dayton, Omaha, whatever. But when you come to that Thursday, they're going to have 64.
Yeah. No, it's very similar. Very similar.
You're going to have 64. So, and you're not going to catch a Cape Verde to give Argentina. And Argentina has been, they've done their part to create so much drama and so many close calls. I mean,
they've had a great draw.
The Egypt game,
They've had a great draw to this point.
They
have not faced all that much competition, and they have limped through all these. They have been the least, the worst team that's gotten to this point. At this point, I think it's fair to
Who's
say
the favorite
they're the
now?
champions, but it's clearly France. France is the clear favorite.
More than Spain, not play winning style soccer more.
Well, then Jimmy, we talked about it last week. I said Spain would be my futures bet if I had to have one. They're second choice.
I know what the odds are. I'm saying who you think's favorite right now.
I still think it's France, but ever so slightly. I think there's value on Spain, but I think France is the favorite. They've been the best side to this point. Now Spain finally gave up a goal to Belgium.
It's close.
It's closer than the odds indicate.
It is right there. I mean, basically $1.30, $1.35, both matches. I mean, England is surpassed, and we'll talk to Steve Wiss. They're playing better, than anybody anticipated. Nigel was not favorable. Looking favorably on their draw. And look, they've had their flat spots. Nobody gave them a shot against Mexico.
They weren't great in the group stage, and so when they drew Mexico, there was a thought that they got one of the
toughest draws out there. Who were they down 1-0 at half? And they came back with the game before Mexico. When Nigel's saying, please come back so I can load up on Mexico next game. Remember how dismal they looked?
Right.
Okay, so.
Yeah, that was against Congo.
But you were there. It's all a hype. It lives up to all the hype.
It was actually.
You're a soccer hardo now, so
it is. 70,000 there at Arrowhead. I'd never been to Arrowhead, so that's part of it. But what I'll give them this, and I ruffled some feathers with some of my friends when I said this, but they are maybe the soccer fans, international soccer fans, maybe the one group of a fan base that can actually beat the SEC football fan in terms of care. Energy, consistent, just nonstop intensity into the match itself. There was no leaving the match at any time the ball was being kicked. It was only at halftime that anyone left their seats. We stood the entire match. It reminded me of being in the student section for an LSU game, except.
So the entire stadium's a student section.
The entire stadium, 70,000.
Now soccer is structured where you don't leave your seat. I mean, it's so, boom, we're here. If this is 50 minutes or so for the half, this is 50 minutes or so. I mean, you can't stay for all that. You traveling? I mean, you don't need to go anyway.
Yeah, sure. It's not 3.5 hours.
You don't have every stop change a possession, change a quarter. I mean, you do have a hydration break now for, a couple minutes, but you're not supposed to leave your seat. You're the only one that left your damn seat.
I did, because I was trying to beat the hydration break crowd. But nevertheless, look, they were singing, chanting. There were drums next to us the entire match. They never stopped. They were there when we walked in 45 minutes early. They were walking in. There were chants when we were getting into the stadium. It was hard, actually. We got through the gate, and it was hard to even get to your seat because the concourse was just full of fans who were just celebrating before the match. They were singing, chanting. It never ended until Switzerland tied the match. And, again, this was a crowd with 90 to 95%, I would say closer to 95% Argentinian fans. It was a home match for them. And yet
95%? No neutral fans?
Well, I would say among those who had a rooting interest. But even among neutrals.
What percentage was neutral?
Based on the color, like the color of the jerseys everywhere, I would say less than a third. I would say a fifth were maybe neutral. Because even a lot of the neutral fans that I talked to, some people who just showed up there, they were like, yeah, I'm going to root for Argentina. It's hard not to when 95% of the stadium is rooting for them to begin with.
If Georgia and Florida were playing in Madrid, how many people would go? Fill a stadium? I know it's different, but you compare it to SEC football.
You could have put this crowd in Buenos Aires, and you wouldn't be surprised.
I'm saying these people, the people that came for this thing traveled across an ocean.
So when they go to Dublin, what are those fan base? I mean, that's Notre Dame and Georgia Tech, or that's. I mean, you had a lot of Iowa State and Kansas State fans, did you not?
Yeah. And when Notre Dame went, for sure, you had a ton of people. And there's so many similarities between it because
the passion is we get it. Yeah. I mean, you can't.
We have now learned enough about soccer in the last month to where we feel qualified to complain about the officiating. Okay, we've arrived. But isn't it just like and you get frustrated? I get frustrated too. It's like, can we cheer? Does this count and all that stuff? Got to go to review. Isn't it the same way when a 60-yard touchdown breaks for your team? I don't know what you're doing. The first thing I'm looking around for is there a flag? Okay, you like Joe Buck because he's touchdown, no flags. And then if you get that, do we have to go to a video? Did he get a foot in? Did he get 2 feet down? Did he maintain possession? Did he get it all the way to the ground? I think there's a lot of similarities that are directly
where there's no handbook. Nobody does classes and curriculums on play-by-play, but you and I have done enough where it's basically from a broadcasting perspective and also from a viewer. You have to call if there are flags on the ground on a touchdown.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
And
it's
if you're in the stadium itself, aren't you looking around?
It's not just kick returns for touchdowns where we see it more frequently. 100%. When there's a score, no flags in the ground.
So if you're in the stadium, you're looking around. All right, so
and to your defense, Charlotte, we're more knowledgeable of the rules in football, so we can tell what's a goal. I mean, what's going to stand.
We see the illegal blocks.
Or hey, man, this is close.
I will say one of the great things about this match is you had the red card at 72 minutes. The go-ahead goal in extra time was over 40 minutes later when you include added time in regulation. There was a lot. That was the only time it got sort of quiet. You could feel that you could cut the tension with a knife, where even the chants started to go away, and they were getting nervous because they did not want to go to extra time. When you're a man up, you definitely want to take advantage of that extra time when you had it. And it seemed like Switzerland's defense, which is what they're known for, was doing a great job of snuffing up anything in the box. So you end up getting Julian Alvarez, who's had a kind of an underwhelming tournament by his standards, who ends up scoring a wonder goal. Top bins, curves it in from outside the box. And the one good moment about that, and it was comparable to almost like a walk-off touchdown, like a game-winning touchdown in overtime or something, because obviously Switzerland's going to struggle a man down to tie the match. But importantly, this was one of the very few instances in which a soccer goal was scored and you knew it wasn't going to get overturned. There was nothing controversial. There was no offside. He was well behind the defense. And so it was one very rare instance in the current age of soccer in which everyone there knew the goal was going to be allowed. There was nothing controversial about it that could have been overlooked. And so that jubilation, the release of all the tension was palpable, and it was an amazing experience. And the rest of the match through the final whistle was just a celebratory mood. I
think that's the cool thing, that you saw a legendary country and is arguably the most legendary individual player. And he's not playing 4 years from now, okay? No. But they had more to lose. And so that team that's, it's all fun and dan, let's sing our songs and everything else. And to the critics say there's more action in the stands than there is on the field. But they were white knuckling that.
There was a chance.
And that's the great thing. We want to see the best. We want to see the best challenge. In Switzerland, and Bruce, he called it, man. He was on them to, maybe favors a little bit. He's got grandchildren in Switzerland, but Bruce Marshall said, this is a quality team that's going to be a tough out, and they certainly.
To be honest, even before Switzerland scored the tying goal, they were the better team at quite a few moments of this match. The first half was
we've been watching,
to
Charlie.
1-0.
Huh? It's something to watch in the summer, huh?
No, I would. Honestly,
I mean, you watch both of them, huh? You made a point to watch them.
I watched
compared
soccer.
To previous World Cups.
I watched soccer all day on Saturday. And listen, this year in particular, for locals, LSU baseball shut down a good month earlier, and more than that if you kind of gave up the ghost before the end of the season. This filled a very necessary void. Okay, now we watched the College World Series anyway and the tournament anyway, but not having LSU there.
College World Series and this overlapped
a little bit at the very beginning. Well, at least the NCAA tournament did, and I think the first weekend of the College World Series there was a little bit of that.
What was the first match in the World Cup, Max?
That was.
And what was the championship series date?
It's somewhere in there.
When was it?
When did this start, and when did the College World Series end? How much did they overlap? I don't know. They were all the way back playing. They were all the way back playing at the
June 11th.
Yeah,
was the
June,
first.
And what was the championship series?
23rd, I believe. Something like that.
Is that deep? Okay.
22nd, 23rd,
okay.
And it was an early Memorial Day. Yeah. So you had some
11 days overlap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
they started. The College World Series started on the same day.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where they coincided.
Okay. They started on a Friday or Saturday this year.
Friday.
And then the World
and
Cup
the World
started
on
on
Thursday, but it was that one match. So,
yeah.
I mean, they were the same week, within a day of each other.
So it filled a very necessary void, especially for people that if LSU's there, not watching college baseball. Now we are, but not everybody does. We're watching. Hey, give me something else to watch. This was in the United States, and how far it's come. Because I saw a World Cup match in '94. I was at the Cotton Bowl. It was hot as hell. The stadium wasn't full. It was nothing like what I saw on television here. It was in pool play. It wasn't
even full.
No.
Really?
No.
Like,
it was one of the early matches.
So what? There had been an empty seat in any of these?
No, it was not full. Not. I mean, it was a big crowd, but it wasn't completely full.
Right.
At the Cotton Bowl. No.
Right.
No. Wasn't. We're here at Walk-Ons in
I'm
Brewley.
the only one that had been a World Cup game. I mean, you know.
Let's send him to Spain in 4 years, Max.
Hey, I'll do Spain,
Let's
bro.
send to Spain and Portugal
Yeah,
for a month.
I'll take that assignment. Yeah, coastal Spain. Yes.
Here at
yes.
Walk-Ons, one of the great beer stops. If you're a beer person, you're going to get all of your traditional favorites. Over 4 dozen beers on tap. Not only your traditional favorites, but for your seasonal beers, you'll always have something a little bit different. If you like the same thing every time, that's fine. But if you like to try something new, this is the place to come do it.
Yes, indeed. And, I was asking some of the servers earlier, too. Been getting good crowds? Absolutely. People have been coming in and watch the World Cup. So it's been a lot of fun. You got a lot of star power. You got a lot of heavyweights, traditional powers. And so, it's going to be a lot of fun. 2 o'clock and 2 o'clock, right? Tomorrow and Wednesday. So early afternoon, it's maintained. So with our All-Star break and 4 off days in the in MLB, here we go. We got a little bit of day action. Not only for World Cup Tuesday and Wednesday, and also British Open or the Open. But yes, so we've got early stuff to handle us in this All-Star break. So looking forward to that. And it's been some nice crowds. So if you can't be at the games itself, always capture a little bit of that atmosphere when you come to any of the walk-ons, including over here at Walk-Ons in Brewley.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Brewley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. It is brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Supporting our Louisiana farmers, go to SupremeRice.com. MLB draft this weekend. We're going to do this in a couple of different slots here because there's plenty to get to. It was a pivotal weekend for Jay Johnson where his signing class was concerned. There was not a whole lot of intrigue in guys where they stay and where they going out of the current lineup, although where they went certainly was going to be interesting. So first of all, good for Derek Curiel, going 5th overall of Pirates. Probably I would say 5 to 10 slots ahead of where he was projected in most spots, was somewhere between 10 and 15. A lot of people had him going at number 11 overall. $8.34 million slot accrued for the number 5 pick overall. Curiel probably took a little less than that. There were quite a few outfielders, a big run on outfielders early, and it looked like some of these teams were trying to save some money. So probably a little under slot, but still great deal for Curiel to go number 5 to the Pirates. Ditto for Jake Brown, who went in the second round, number 65 to Seattle. Great deal for him. Well over $1 million in the slot there. Brown, who came to LSU as a pitcher outfielder, emerged as a real power threat, and was going to, I think might even gone a little bit higher than this. He not missed a little bit of the back part of the season, but a great deal for him. Devin Sheeran went in the 4th round to the Phillies, 128 overall. Not a big surprise that he went in this range. This was pretty much where he was supposed to go. The high velocity is going to be a professional relief pitcher, which probably hurts your draft stock a little bit. This is about where he was expected to go. Really nice deal for him. Later on in the draft, Grant Fontenot went in the 10th round of the Royals. Santiago Garcia, 12th round of the Jays. Connor Bench, 13th round of the Marlins. Gavin Guidry, 16th round to the Mets. And Zach Cowan in the 19th round to the Guardians. None of those were unexpected. All of those guys were moving along, whether eligibility extinguished or they were just going to go. So a really good deal for the current Tigers that went in this draft, and like I said, Curiel went a little bit higher than we had projected him going in. The real drama was going to be what happened with this signing class, and in the week leading up to this, you got a wide range of opinions. and from people telling you that they were going to get decimated in this class, telling you, well, hang on, a little bit of cautious optimism might not be the worst thing here. They had a couple of players withdrew from the draft. Lucas Nowarski was the last one, the left-handed pitcher, withdrew himself from the draft. If you go back earlier in the process, Braxton Beatty and Nathaniel Davis. Davis was considered to be about a second-round pick, pulling themselves out of the draft. So they were doing well beforehand. So that, in my opinion, left 5 players that were really going to be tough to get to campus. But, boy, if you could sneak 1 or 2 of them, think about Brad Cressy, Aaron Hill type guys, guys that are going to get drafted, but maybe, or William Schmidt, guys are going to get drafted pretty high, but maybe if things work out for you, it might get 1 or 2 of them to the campus. They did way better than that. So Logan Schmidt, the big lefty, 6'4", 97 miles an hour. There was never much chance he was coming to campus. He went with the 59th pick overall, $1.6 million slot. That was pretty much understood. ESPN came out with something on Saturday morning that said Jensen Heichkorn, the big 6'7" righty that throws in the upper 90s, might be a signability problem. He was asking for somewhere between $2 and $3 million. He went in the 3rd round, 84th overall. The slot was 973. The word was that he got pretty close to his number, well over $2 million. So you get that, hey, not much you can do. But the other 3 players that got to campus, all 3 of them outfielders, or that got through the draft, not picked high. Malachi Washington, Anthony Murphy, and Dominic Santarelli. I'm going to go in the order of unlikely to get to campus, in my mind, before the draft. I didn't think Dominic Santarelli had any chance to get to Baton Rouge. He's 6'2", he's 230 pounds, he hits from the left side, and he went to the combine and absolutely blew everybody away. What we talk about now, launch angle, exit velocity. He led the combine in exit velocity. It was triple digits. It was like 110 and change. Those guys don't make it to campus. I mean, you look at Santarelli, and we saw a little bit of just still shots of him. Man, you put a major league uniform on the guy, and he doesn't look out of place. For 18 years old, outside of left-handed pitching, the number 1 trait coveted in these drafts is power bats. This guy is a power bat, and he didn't go. Apparently, he set so high a number that he lasted all the way into the 18th round with Seattle, which, he put a LSU uniform on and put it on Twitter last night. Hey, can't wait to get to Baton Rouge. So getting Santarelli is, to me, out of everything that happened this weekend, the biggest surprise. I didn't think they had any chance to get him. I thought he would be gone, if not in the supplemental round, in the 2nd round. Getting Santarelli to campus is a big, big deal. Likewise, Malachi Washington, who has been compared to a poor man's Dylan Cruz. I don't know if I go quite that far, but he does have a power-speed combination that is going to make him an immediate candidate to start. In fact, if you said to me that he was going to be LSU's opening day center fielder next year, I wouldn't argue with you very much. I think it's going to be a real interesting competition. In fact, Cokie Riley, who is the beat writer for The Advocate, put him into a projected starting lineup for next season. I thought that Washington would go on the first day for sure, and he did not. He lasted in the 18th round for Pitt. That number apparently was too high. The third one is Anthony Murphy, out of California, another power speed guy, another very, very comfortable outfielder. He ended up lasting into the 16th round with Washington. Now, I'm less certain that Murphy's going to get to campus, even though he went that late. I'm not sure if it's going to be slot money. I've even heard that there may be another school involved here, so I'm less certain about Murphy. But if you get Washington and Santarelli to campus, that's a big win, man. That is a big, big win for Jay Johnson, because those are 2 guys that I just did not see getting to campus. So that's the top of the class. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about the bottom of or the next layer of players that went. But up at the top, really, really good for LSU. Your top guys off your current team that you knew weren't coming back went as high or higher than they were expected. The guys that you had on your most endangered list, you got at least 40% of them, maybe 60% of them. That's a really, really, really good start to your draft.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds with Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great long-standing staff will execute your deals seamlessly. Ashley Donalds, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Marion Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Walk-Ons in Bruley. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff for years has helped us out. So you got back pain, neck pain, muscle soreness, things that are impeding your movement, keeping you from getting a good night's sleep. Let them help you out, whether it be an exercise and stretching program that can get you loosened up, get you to feeling a little bit better. Maybe sometimes you can knock it out with that. If you need a dry needle or electric nerve stimulation, cryo or ultrasound therapy, they can help you out there too. Airline Highway Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla, Dr. Mike Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Continuing through with players in the draft. Lucas Naraki took himself out of the draft right before the weekend. This is one of the better left-handed arms in the class. LSU was really happy to get him. Will Adams, who was another left-handed pitcher but also was a first baseman, ended up going in the 11th round to Pittsburgh. They got him slotted. So even though you don't have slot values, if a guy gets taken at that point, you figure that he's going to go. There were other right-handed pitchers that I didn't know how many of these guys at LSU would be able to get to campus. You know, they're not of the not like Schmidt and Heischkorn. I figured that those two guys were gone. So, you know, those guys left. But the next group, how many of them could you keep? Cooper Sides, 6'5", right-hander, mid-90s fastball, put a very high number on himself, did not get picked. Strong candidate to be either a weekday starter, maybe even challenge for a weekend starter position next year. Colby Stringer, another one, 6'3" guy from Mississippi, was kind of touch and go whether they were going to get him. They got him in. Colton Brady, 6'5" guy, another big classic power right-handed pitcher. They're going to get him to campus. This is another one that when you hear things, sometimes they don't always go. I was assured by multiple people that there was no way they were going to get Major Oswald, the only JUCO player on this list, to campus. Well, even though he's an older player, he is coming to campus. Braden Wisner, another power righty. He's only about 6'2", but he's in the mid-90s. He is coming to campus. They did lose Dylan Blockmer, 6'4", right-hander, 97 miles an hour. But of this, what I would call this second tier of right-handed pitchers, they got almost all of them, and that was terrific. Let me go down my list here. They lost Wesley Roberson, an outfielder. He had some injury problems last year, but probably went a little bit higher than they thought. Fourth round, 115th overall, 677 on the slot value there. So they lost him. Spencer Evans, a left-handed pitcher, threw in the mid-90s, went in the 11th round, so they're going to lose him. But overall, I would say that if you had offered this to Jay Johnson on Friday, what was going to happen overall this weekend, he would have said, where do I sign? Because pretty much everything would have been nice to sneak, one or two more through. Yeah, but the number was so much higher. So that begs the next question, which is, do you have enough room for all these guys? Because college baseball coaches are in a terrible position. And I'm not just saying, Johnson. you have to sign enough guys to put a team on the field next year, even if you get blasted in the draft. You go take a bunch of guys that are not going to get drafted, but then you won't be very good. You have to wait it out. You have to put some guys on a contingency basis. Some guys you say, listen, I'm as sure as I can be that we got a spot for you. And then somebody gets through the draft that you never expected to get through the draft. So where's LSU on a numbers standpoint? Turns out they're in pretty good shape. The cap is 34. Right now, depending on what you think about Anthony Murphy, they're at 41 or 42. But because of, and this gets lost a lot, to be honest with you, I'd kind of forgotten about it until we started doing our draft preview stuff last week. The designated student athlete. What's a designated student athlete? Well, back when the House case came down and they put hard roster limits on these teams, they allowed them a grandfather clause, a designated student athlete, which means that if you were on the roster during the 24-25 academic year, essentially you get grandfathered in. LSU's got 7 that I feel pretty comfortable with that number. 7 guys that they can put on this designated student athlete. Again, I'm going to call it a grandfather clause, meaning that if the roster is somewhere around 41, that's what we're saying today, they're fine. So I made a joke to somebody on Saturday. I said, if it wasn't for this DSA, LSU Eunice might be getting an influx of talent that they weren't expecting. But because of the DSA, I think he's fine. So this is now a roster pretty much that you can say you've got every position player in the lineup you feel really good about. You've got all 3 of your transfer outfielders, Waters, Laya, and Wax. If Washington beats one of them out, fantastic. If he doesn't, it's a really good defensive replacement, bat off the bench that can work himself in there. Your infield was set before you started this with your transfers. You were getting Milam back. Dawson Park is moving over to third base. The transfer from Texas State, Cade Curlin, who longtime starter at Florida at second base, is going to move in there. And Mason Braun, who was your starting first baseman at the end of the year. You kept both catchers, Aaron Beatty and Cerna, even though they can't both catch 50 games. You kept both of those guys. All 3 of your starting pitchers from last year are back. They've all got to improve. Kason Evans, William Schmidt, Cooper Moore, they're all back. But you brought Landon Hood in from Gonzaga. And now if you bring in guys like Cooper Sides, who I wasn't sure on Friday they were going to get, Colton Brady, Colby Stringer, all of them potential starting guys. Reagan Ricken, I'm told, has had a very good summer. I really liked what I saw out of him last year, and that's if Cooper Williams doesn't bounce back to his freshman season form. That's really good. You brought in some left-handed pitchers in the bullpen. Naraki was a really nice get for them. Danny Lackenmeyer, I think, is going to play a bigger role this year. Braxton Beatty pulled himself out of the draft. All of those are really, really good news. So you've got some depth. You've got some youth. You got some frontline guys. Compared to my mood at the end of the regular season as to now, I would call it a complete 180 because there was a lot of players that could have got into the transfer portal that didn't, that I frankly kind of expected to. Some players that I thought would go pro off the current team that didn't. Milam being the biggest example, and guys that I didn't think that they would get through the draft that they did. So Jay Johnson's in a pretty good mood today, I would say. That is my recap. Because while I was watching the soccer and while I was watching the tennis, I was also watching the Major League Baseball tracker. That was my weekend.
The Jay Johnson's going to have a roster.
Yep.
Okay, that's his strength. He's got, his efforts, his resources. He's going to do it. But 180, Charlie, since the end of the season. I mean, now look, this is better than expected. Some things fell their way. There's no doubt. But who do you have more confidence in? of putting together a roster with the resources in LSU and Johnson.
I've got a ton of confidence in him.
So
I'm saying
the
there were more
180?
surprises. There were more surprises.
No,
here
absolutely no.
than I thought.
Without a doubt, it takes skill, effort, resources, and some luck.
Yeah.
And they got it seemed like, who did they miss on? I mean, all you're telling me is, I didn't hear one guy that they missed on.
Of guys,
I guess you just failed to mention.
Of guys that I think they believed maybe before the weekend that they would get to campus that didn't. Probably Wesley Roberson. I kind of had him penciled in. I thought they would get him. Dylan Blanker, the right-handed pitcher, went in the 5th round of the Cubs. I thought they had a better chance to get Blanker than they did to get Sides. They ended up getting Sides and Brady and Oswalt. So they got more than I thought they would, even though a couple of guys.
More than anybody thought.
Yes.
No, more than anybody thought they were going to get. I get that.
Charlie, is this comparable? Can you remember a time where they've done as well, a year in which they've done so well in the draft with recruits? I mean, prisoner of the moment.
09 and 23.
Yeah.
And I hate to use national championship years, but, in 93 when they got Mikey Matuk through the draft and, Nola through the draft that year. I'm blanking on the third baseman's name, that little bitty kid.
Hanover?
Tyler Hanover, thank you. And they got him through the draft. They got Matty
He was a good draft prospect?
No, he wasn't because of his height, but he was a really
why were you sweating him so much?
Because he was a really good high school player. And
he's
sometimes
coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got Matty Ott through that draft. So, yeah, a couple of times, but this is pretty good.
Well, you got more to offer for kids coming to, obviously.
Yeah,
to play.
There's going to be some NIL money. Yeah. Whereas on
not just
in 23 you had NIL money, but in 09 it was like you go to school, there's no cash, but
Jimmy,
you're
talking
there's
about
NIL money.
results.
It's also quality of life.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, you're getting treated, every bit as good as the blue chip, football players with the, with the nutrition center and the. No, I mean it's just. Yeah, being on campus as opposed to, in the freaking, the Red Roof Inn and, Abilene, Texas, man, give me a break, man. So it's, so you're going to have more guys. Like with the guy who's projected to be a first rounder, didn't go first round, said, man, screw it. I'm taking my name out the draft completely. What's his name again?
The first rounder? Naraki. I don't know if he'd have been a first round pick.
This past weekend,
Naraki.
once he went the first round, he pulled his name out.
During the draft, I think Santarelli and Washington both did.
Okay.
No, they didn't necessarily.
Okay,
public,
but I mean that might not happen 10 years ago.
Might not.
So, it's he's going to be he's always going to have a really good roster. Now you say about the 3 pitchers coming back. Shouldn't they have a little competition for their spots?
I named about 5 guys.
Okay, but you kind of like almost.
They'll get the first shot because of their experience. But, yeah, Evans has got to prove that he can be a starter that can get deeper in the game. Schmidt's got to get a little bit better. And, Brown's got to come back from the injury.
And finally, the obvious is
more.
I think it was the Friday night A&M game where he kind of has a meltdown, and he just tees it high and lets it fly. Pretty much blasts with several weekend series left. And he was having this basically recruiting approach epiphany. In the end, he's still doing what he does. He's maximizing, right?
Go and get it.
It wasn't. I mean, is he trying to get more Power 4 prospects than Grand Valley or whatever it is, or Grand Canyon?
Maybe, but, some of the.
But it was not. He was just letting off some steam. Huh?
Wait till you see Santarelli. Goodness, this guy's a moose. He can hit the ball at the moon.
Guy they had was a moose this year too.
This guy he's not quite as tall. He looks like Bear Jones. I mean, I'll show you a picture. He spent a little time in the weight room.
When your AC needs repair, wouldn't it be nice to know the job is covered for life? Call Total Maintenance at 480-0007 and ask about our lifetime warranty on all repair work. That's right. It's peace of mind long after the technician leaves your home. And that's why we can't stress enough their elite membership plan. Service 2 times a year. That way it's going to clean it. It's going to be We're going to operate. It's going to operate more efficiently, cool down your house cooler, work less, and that way and lower your monthly bills. But $39.95 a month, half of that goes straight to building some credit as well. How about the sign-up bonus? $200 credit. We call it TM bucks, total maintenance bucks, as soon as you sign for the elite membership plan. And we're going to alert you when it's time to come out and do your semi-annual check. 15% off all repairs. Repairs come with 3-year warranty. 50% off diagnostics. We go on and on. It comes with a sensor system with the app to notify of a breakdown to alert you more quickly. So there's so many options, and you don't get hit with that big bill when it's time to replace equipment because your money that has been built up, your credit, will be there, and that's what you use it for. It's Elite Membership Plan. Call today and ask about it. 480-0007, 480-0007.
Live at the Walk-Ons in Bruley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at the Walk-Ons in Bruley, live at lunch. Take another little look here at these matches that have gone by in the World Cup semis coming up here after the top of the hour.
Yeah, buddy, Steve West coming on. The Meat Man. He is, I guess, colleagues of his relationship with Nigel Seeley, who came on our show. And, Nigel and, for the Bet Rivers podcast. So Steve does a lot of them. Winning Weekly, what is it?
Betting Weekly Studios.
Betting Weekly. So he's a British guy that Charlie sure sounds like he knows a lot about soccer. So no, he's highly thought of, highly respected for his handicapping. So he'll break down the games for us when we come back. So Max does a lot of work with him as well. So
Max, scale of 1 to 10, Kansas City barbecue.
I had it once. The place I went to Arthur Bryant's, thanks to one of our YouTube commenters who recommended that to me. Very, very good. Very, very good, the place we went to. The brisket was a little dry, though. That was the only thing.
An 8?
I'd say, 8.1.
8.1.
Right around there.
8.1. Damn East German judges.
Send the VAR to get a review on that review.
Hour number 2 from Walk-Ons in Bruley next. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, kicking off hour number 2, let's bring in one of my buddies, a colleague of sorts with the Bet Rivers Podcast Network, Betting Weekly. Follow him on Twitter at Meatman Soccer, the Meatman himself, and highly respected soccer/football handicapper. Steve, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, guys, no problem whatsoever. How's it going?
It's going good. So, overall thoughts, of this new expanded World Cup, things that have kind of developed according to your expectations, and maybe some things that you've been surprised with.
Well, I think there's probably been a few more goals than I thought there would be. The tournament goals line was set at 10 less than it currently is now. So we've already had 10 more goals than expected. Ultimately, FIFA changed the seeding for this World Cup in that the top 4 ranked teams, if they won their groups and won all their matches, would meet each other in the semi-finals. And that's what's happened. I mean, a lot of people are kind of surprised by that. But I suppose with where the draw worked out, it's similar to a tennis draw, isn't it? The top 4 seeds sometimes will meet in the semi-finals there. So we've got the best of the best left in the competition. So the 2 semi-finals are mouth-watering, and I think they should be pretty exciting.
No doubt, man. You got it. Well, also from a novice, and look, Steve, we've been doing this show for 36 years. We've talked more soccer in the last month than we've put together in 35 years combined. So it really has captured our imagination, some being a host city. Some, of course, we got misled that we thought the Americans were actually improved, but, they put us back in our place there. And so, but anyway, it's just been, and the games itself have been tight. Even though it's been a lot of chalk advancing, they've certainly been challenged in this one. But I have to ask you, with the heavyweights, the traditional powers, the higher seeds advancing here to the semifinals, and now the impact of video assisted replay, VAR, seems like a lot of when there's some subjectivity included. Man, the power teams are getting the benefit of the doubt. Or am I off on that?
Listen, I don't like VAR. I've not liked it since it's come in. I actually, before VAR came into the world of soccer, I actually wanted it in because there were so many terrible decisions being made by referees. But the problem now is that the terrible decisions are being made by the VAR referees off the field. So I don't like it. I think it disrupts the game. I think it disrupts momentum in the game because if you're checking for an offside even, it can take a half a minute out of proceedings, and teams that were kind of on top of another one lose that momentum. And then, some of the decisions have been bad. I mean, I'm just talking about the Premier League now over here in England. The amount of times that a few days after a weekend they have to apologise to teams for saying, "Oh, actually, we got VAR wrong with this." How are they getting it wrong? Because they can see there's more than one eye now on these games. There's more than one referee in the matches. They shouldn't be getting so many decisions wrong. It becomes the problem with soccer, guys, is it's quite a subjective game. One person's red card might not be a red for someone else. One person's foul might not be a foul for someone else. So it was meant to come in for clear and obvious, and too many times there's not enough clear and obvious being used. It's the small things instead.
Sounds familiar, aren't Charlie?
Just a little bit, yeah.
With the more of our traditional sports, the assistance of a replay. Before we get to the breakdown of tomorrow and Wednesday's semifinals, how about your hometown team? I know Nigel was a little concerned on the draw. We saw them with the first round of the knockout down at half, and not a ton of optimism going into Mexico City. But man, that was such a great match, and they played so well against a team that, is a tough place to play. And there's no doubt about that. But England, man, they just kind of getting better and better as we progress, and now are favored to advance in their semifinal on Wednesday.
Yeah, I didn't expect England to be making it this far. I've got to be honest. I think it looked like quite a challenging route. The performance at the Azteca Stadium against Mexico, that was one of the best England performances in my lifetime, considering where it's at, and the home crowd and the altitude as well. So fair play to England for getting through that game, especially with 10 men. And then we all expected, of course, England to be playing against Brazil in the quarterfinals. It was Norway. And it wasn't convincing from England. They did just about enough. We're still maybe waiting for a top-class England performance in this World Cup. They played pretty well the first game, actually, against Croatia. But if they could now save their best soccer for the semi-final and the final, that would be incredible for England. They don't have as much depth, as much quality depth as Spain and France. So I actually think playing against Argentina is the easier match for England. Can they get through against Argentina? There's a lot of on the field and off the field things to consider with England and Argentina. There's a huge rivalry. I'm sure we'll go into it. But I'm way more optimistic than I was with England pre-tournament, right, because they've managed to grind through the tough moments. And I think sometimes you've got to, in all sports, whether it's a team or an individual, you do have to grind through the tough moments, don't you? And England have proven that they've got the mentality, perhaps, to go on and win this trophy now.
France to win it is plus 140. Spain and England co-second choices at 320, and Argentina, as you mentioned, the longest shot on the board. With it, and I'm sure they'll get some support. Although, let's get to the matches tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Time, our time. So, it'll be nighttime over there, prime time for you guys to celebrate and hit the pubs and the watch parties, but. France, and that's a star-studded crew. It's not just Mbappe, but they're about minus 155, Spain plus 125. Now, this is just the start of the betting menu, Steve, that I know you really know how to navigate through. And I think one common theme for these semifinals, indoor, air-conditioned, I think that you've sort of equated that to more expected goals. Your thoughts on France-Spain?
Yeah, there has been, I think, 0.66 more goals scored in the indoor climate controlled arenas, and that's really important for soccer because I think it's making a very comfortable climate for all these, especially the attacking players, to show what they've got. And look, this first semi-final, it's probably between the two best teams in the world, really. Going into the tournament, I think everyone kind of ranked Spain and France equally. But I think there's a case to be made that perhaps France are now better than Spain. And perhaps this happened in the last year or the last 2 years. Spain were the best team 2 years ago in the Euro Championship, and they won that tournament. The thing now is that I believe they've probably got better and they've got more quality options in attack than what Spain have. And Spain's best player, Lamine Yamal, who was brilliant 2 years ago, so he got injured for Barcelona in about April, and he's still been working his way back into the tournament. He's done 90 minutes now, but he just doesn't look right. You know, when a player just doesn't quite look as sharp as he can be. I'm starting to question whether he is going to get back that sharpness now at all. So that's where I am at with this game. I think it's going to be a brilliant game, by the way. If you're looking for betting angles on it, I like betting on goals over 2.5, over 3.5. But I mean, I personally think that France will win it because I think they're the better team now. They've got the goals. If it becomes a shootout, France is the team that's going to win it. Spain probably want to try and grind it down and make it more of a pedestrian sort of game because they're very good at controlling the ball. But this is, look, if you're going to probably watch, well, you want to watch both semi-finals, but this one could be really opening up into something special goals-wise.
All right, so over in 2.5 and 3.5. Any other shots? If we got to get one of these single game parlay bets or something, any other prop to throw in there with it?
Well, I think the most likely goal scorer in the game is probably Kylian Mbappe for France. He's the best player in the world for me when he plays at his best. And the good thing about Mbappe is that if you're going to bet on him, he's quite a selfish player. So he's going to want to shoot a lot himself rather than provide the assist. And, you know, he's been in great goal-scoring form this tournament. He did miss a penalty last time, but he will still be on penalty kicks. And then from a Spain perspective, I mean, it's all about Lamine Yamal. Is he going to finally come to this World Cup party? Just one goal scored in the tournament. I think the best angle for betting on with Lamine Yamal is the player props market in the shots on target, over 1.5 shots on target probably. So Lamine Yamal, and you can get plus money on that. If you want to bet on him to score, he's about plus 200. So that's the angle. But I'm just kind of weighing it up with Lamine Yamal. Are we going to get the best version of him, or are we going to get this sort of mediocre version which we've seen so far in the tournament?
All right, the Wednesday semifinal, 2 p.m. Central Time again. England now has been boosted up a little bit. We're looking at around a 140 stage. Argentina plus 110, and you can just, you know, those sportsbook writers, they can just fill it in. It's an auto. They got a stamp. They just put Messi, first time goal, Messi, anytime goal. I mean, the stars have been producing in this tournament and really cashing some tickets on the props. But England and Argentina, the Wednesday semifinal, your thoughts?
Well, it's going to be very spicy because these two nations do not like each other at all, both on the soccer field and off the soccer field. So I think there's actually a good chance that this will not end 11 men versus 11 men. I think we could get a red card here, at least one red card. I think some of the players could get very, very emotional, and someone could do something stupid. But I think there could be a few goals in it as well because the defences of both teams are vulnerable. I don't look at any of these defences now in the tournament and think, yeah, you're going to keep a clean sheet with England and Argentina. So, you know, you could be looking at both teams to score. You could be looking at over 2.5 goals here as well. And then, you know, for those betting on Messi and Harry Kane as well. Harry Kane, of course, let's not forget Harry Kane. Jude Bellingham's kind of gone into the limelight more for England in the last 2 matches, and deservedly so. But Harry Kane's still there for England, and he's going to want to prove what he's worth in this semi-final. So I think this is the sort of semi-final the stars come out to play again. And I think England can go through because I think man for man, England have the better team. And I think they also have the better head coach as well. England's head coach is Thomas Tuchel. He's actually German, but he's very, very good tactically. He can put together different game plans at different times in the match. And that might just be the edge for England overall. But it could go to extra time. It could go to penalties. England are much better at penalties now than they ever used to be. They've got good penalty takers. So it would be a close-run thing. But I think England to go through, maybe the 90-minute result could be a tie, though.
There you go. So, and all those are plus money. Not to advance, but because is Argentina, Steve? Are they public enough with this last run of Messi? Because I mean, people bet what they know too. Is this tempering this line and kind of keeping it down where you're not laying as big of a number? You think that the advantage for England is a little bit stronger here?
If this was prime Messi at his absolute best, and when was Lionel Messi at his best? Probably between the ages of 28 and say 33. So that's knocking on the door of 7-8 years ago now. Then I think Argentina would legitimately be clear favourites here. But I mean, he's 39 now. I think he's still good, but he's not as elite as he was. And I would like to think a good game plan could bottle him up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Keep him quiet. And if that's what I would do anyway, I would get men on him. He can still do things, and obviously from set plays, that's a big threat for Argentina as well. But yeah, I think you are right. I think a lot of the public opinion, perhaps some of the public money, will be because of Messi. I don't think this is as good an Argentina team as it was 4 years ago that won the World Cup. It's still decent, and they've got a lot of fighting qualities. But I don't think they're quite at the same level. They needed extra time to get past Cape Verde. They needed a lot of luck from the referees to get past Egypt. They needed extra time to get past 10-man Switzerland. That's not a great form heading into this, because those teams there, with all due respect, are nothing special. So
it has been it's been a favorable favorable path, favorable officiating, favorable a little bit of everything. There's so man, what's it going to be like in England in a couple of nights? I mean, the pubs. I mean, prime time. What's your plans? I mean, give us a little taste of the watch party atmosphere back home.
Well, the thing is, what happens is when England are on, you get everyone comes out to watch the games in the pubs and bars, and there's quite a lot of people who don't even follow soccer for the rest of the year will come out to play, and it can get a bit annoying actually, because I mean I had to walk out at half time against Norway. I had to go home because I was fed up with some of the bickering and some of the opinions that were going on that were just, they didn't know what they were talking about. And you couldn't reason with some of these people because they've got a few drinks in them and stuff. So a lot actually depends where you watch, guys, because I mean if you're sort of watching with the kind of like-minded people, then it can be a great experience, but it can be a bit what we call loutish in certain spots. But the atmosphere is obviously going to be brilliant, whatever. And I'm going to bring the off-the-field part into Argentina. A lot of people in this country grew up, especially maybe the older people, grew up to hate Argentina as a nation in general. I mean, UK went to war with Argentina in the late 70s, the Falklands. So there's probably a bit more. I mean, against Norway, England, everyone likes Norway over here. Not many people like Argentina in this country, so it's going to be spicy.
Steve, one more follow-up before we let you go. We appreciate your time again, but shoot us straight on some people that you have talked to that have come to the United States for it. Has it been, it's gotten a lot of favorable reviews, and we had the political intervention, which turned a lot of the world against the U.S. Even in the prediction markets, the percentages to host in 38 have dipped since that happened. So your thoughts on how the positives and negatives that may be the feedback you've heard from people visiting.
Anyone visiting out there, I've heard nothing but positivity. Genuinely, it seems like the USA has done a really great job out there for the fans visiting in terms of the looking after them, the atmospheres at the stadium. I think the prices of the tickets have been a little bit questionably high in places. I think that would be the only thing. And perhaps some of the, just general food and drink at stadiums is a lot more than it would be over here in Europe. But that's, sort of maybe different cultures. It was a real shame. Before I go, I'll talk about the Balogun thing, because all they had to do, let's be honest, that's not a red card in my opinion on the field, right? So they should have just come out the next day and said, we got it wrong, the referee got it wrong, we're going to downgrade it to a yellow card. And I think everyone would have been okay with it. But because they took so long to actually, do that, and then obviously a day before, then they made it a suspended sentence. That's when the outcry starts. That's where it's unfair on, say, Belgium, who suddenly got to change their game plan. But I just wish FIFA kind of FIFA made the right decision. They just did it the wrong way. I just wish they'd done it the next day and admitted that the referee kind of made a mistake. But they always, of course, have to protect their referees as much as they can.
Steve, big fan of yours, man. We love your stuff. Keep it up. You've had a great handicapping season. We continue. We thank you taking some time out, man. Enjoy the matches tomorrow and Wednesday.
No problem at all. Take care, guys. Great to be on, and enjoy the rest of your show and the rest of the World Cup as well.
Yes, indeed. That's the Meat Man again at Meat Man Soccer. At Meat Man Soccer, Steve West. Don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace, Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine, Go Chevrolet West in Plaquemine, and Go Ford in Waveland, Mississippi. My buddies Lee Carney and Nick Richard doing a wonderful job. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. Whether you're in the market for a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle with extension of the factory warranty. We have a certified body shop as well, and our concierge service department. There's nothing like it. You talk about convenience on a different level. I don't just talk about the great vehicles from the Go Automobile Dealership family. My Tahoe came from Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. The Go Automobile Dealership family.
I could use him on postgame, because when he said, these guys have had a few drinks in them. They don't know what they're talking about. And you can't reason. Well, I could use him after some of these games. Live at Walk-Ons in Brewley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Brewley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we welcome you back to Live at Lunch. We're also brought to you by the Thibodeau Store right now with big specials on the website for your painting projects. Massive discounts on painting supplies all the way from spray paint to rollers, gallons. All of your painting supplies right now at thethibodeaustore.com. Same-day pickup available on everything on the website. So, listen, if you need all of the things that you need when you paint, your spackling, your primer, your professional painting tape, your compounds, all of your painting supplies are available right now, brushes and rollers at thethibodeaustore.com. Lumber, if you are building this summer, if you're adding on to your property in any way, need some lumber, they can deliver it for you out of both Lockport and Pierre Part. So get those available for you right now at thethibodeaustore.com. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, Highway 70 in Pierre Part, open in LaRose and Lockport, and open until 5:30. thethibodeaustore.com. Jimmy, give credit. On Friday when we had the Wimbledon men's final set, you said when the odds came out that Alexander Zverev, am I saying that right?
It's Zverev or Zverev, but not Zverev.
You
like
said this is
you
said this is a very, very a much closer match than the odds would indicate because you were getting, I think it was plus 350 and Sunday morning plus 360. For Zverev. And you said this is a much, much closer match than that. There's real value on the underdog here, and I took him. I watched the match from start to finish. We didn't cash, but I think you were right on. This was not that kind of gap between these two players, even as good as Sinner is. That's what I saw.
And the buildup was that, at 6'6", Zverev, potentially has a big serve. This is not his favorite. This is probably his least favorite surface, although and McEnroe does a good job of talking about the clay is a little faster, not as slow as it used to be, and the grass is not as fast, but still the serve is – this is the surface where you can serve your way through, a really deep run in a tournament. And Charlie, the measurables, his miles per hour, I forget exactly what it was, and his percentage of first serves that were going in were historic. And I think they went 31 games before somebody broke. it
was game.
So you went to 6. I mean,
game 8 of the third set, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was
because there were none in the first two sets. And it was
4-3, 4-3. So 7 and then 24, 31 straight holds until Sinner broke him. There are other ways to bet it. He was. The ace total was 11.5. I think he had 19. To have more aces than Sinner was like plus 160.
Yeah.
No, 175. 175. To win at least one set was basically even money for for Zverev. And, did they win every point in that tiebreaker till 7-6?
Yes, they did.
And so he got his first break point, a set point, or no, it was his third. He had two, which center. I mean, we had one. Both of them had a set point. They both held their serve, and then maybe 9-8. Zverev won the point. He hit a winner, and it was just So and look, he gets another tiebreaker, and I would say that his serve is so good. Sinner's got a much better return, and when they extend the point, Sinner has an advantage. But that second set tiebreaker, man, I thought he was going, and that's when I think he won at love, and it was just kind of that. A little demoralizing, a little bit of a statement, a little bit of correcting this thing because, I mean, he's a tiebreaker from going down 2-0 in some warm conditions where he's had some problems, going deep. He's going to have to at least go 5. And then I kind of missed it. I was wondering, the knee injury that you texted me
I only
with.
texted you once during the match, and I thought that I thought it was really, really close.
When was it, Charlie?
3-3 in the second, in the third set.
Oh, the third set.
In the third set.
Okay.
And he was down. He tweaked it. In fact, Sinner was so concerned about him, he crossed the net and went over there to help him up. And it's like, okay, man.
I was in the car at that time.
And at first I thought, man, is this really serious? And then he was still good enough to get back up and go, and it was close. But he seemed to be, I thought, just a little bit off, and there wasn't that much difference in him. So I went back and I looked it up. Prior to the injury, there was only 3 points difference between these two.
Oh, okay.
And after it, there was 12. And we're talking about two sets with the tiebreakers plus 6 games in the third set. There was 3 points difference between them. Sinner had him by 3 points. After that, from that point on to the end of the match, he had him by 12 points. I thought it made just a little bit, and a little bit was all he needed because he didn't make very many unforced errors. He only had 25 unforced errors. Zverev finished with 45. A lot of those were in that third and fourth set.
He's got to go for it, too, though. And this is the whole thing. I mean, do you want to, it was such a cliff, such a steep drop-off from Alcaraz and Sinner to everybody else. And this guy has been number 3 for a long time. And constantly his coaches are going, you got to get more aggressive. You got to go for it. And he just was reluctant, and it happened organically where they got out of his way. He held on to it. He stressed in the first match, once Sinner and Alcaraz were out of the French. But he went on and won handily and took care of his business. And he was doing that in this tournament as well. So he is playing more aggressively. He is going for his shots. He's going to have more unforced errors than Sinner. No doubt about it. But you can't rally with Sinner. Sinner's a better athlete. It could play better defense. This guy's more of a big hitter. But he was going for it. So the mental part, and he spoke after. He says, I want to thank my team because for the first time, I felt like I could win this tournament. And so I'm getting over that mental thing. Although preaching happened to happen organically, and even though he didn't beat him, he still got that first major, and it's given him a little bit of confidence and order. He was right there, Charlie.
If he wasn't he there? If he catches a break and wins that second set tiebreaker, it is right there.
Now he did catch a break in the first set, only break point, and Sinner just completely framed it. It was an unforced error, and it was the only one of the. They only had one break point. I think the first 2 sets.
Sinner saved his, and I think Zverev saved one.
No, Zverev he's serving. Sinner's got a break point against him, and it was just, okay, they started the point because he got a second serve.
Yeah.
That's part of the luck factor. Let's get a second serve to have a chance. Man, Zverev had so many service winners on his second serve. I mean, it's unbelievable. And Sinner had it here in the middle of the rally, and he just framed it. He just mishit it. It wasn't off the chalk. He just did, and that was the only time. But he's close. He's closer than ever, and Sinner was challenged. He was challenged.
Zverev put 80% of his first serves in play. Sinner only 66%, but Sinner won 80% of the points when he got his first serve in, and Zverev only at 71%. This is one of those times where I made a bet. I watched it, I lost, and right after it was over, I said I'd make the same bet again because I thought the value was there at plus 350 because the match was much closer than that.
What?
And it was really good
tennis
to watch.
I mean, I've got like 400, with some boosts and everything else. I sure laid like 130.
Oh,
Yes, indeed. After he won the first set.
Back the.
Yeah.
Back the
center
other way.
was anywhere from one, and look, the variance on these things. And the variance before, Charlie, there was one at some of these props on some of this stuff, but I have to tell you, the one, it was, here you go. Where is it? Just minus, here you go. Zverev to win at least one set. One shop, it was as expensive as minus 175, and another one was plus 125.
Oh, that's a bit. And boy, the emotion when he won that first set. You could see it was really, really.
No. Sinner was in a dogfight,
no,
man.
It was really good tennis.
It was good. It was
Enjoyed
good. Don't forget our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime. You get in a car accident like I did, it's just it's not fun. So pick up the phone, call 343-1111. You could go to the website at ocbrown.com and you can schedule it there. As soon as you pull up the main page, it'll direct you accordingly. It's easily, and that's what we never charge for that initial consultation. You get in a car accident, you need it. Everybody knows that, and we'll take care of that. We'll pay for your doctor bills, set up the doctor bills, just eliminate as much of the stress and inconvenience that goes along with this. And that's where Dana comes in, especially negotiating with the insurance companies, which there's an art involved in that. So do like I did when I got into a car accident. Call our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 at ocbrown.com.
Live at Walk-Ons in Bruley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, no two situations alike. Let Phil Fontenot and his staff do for you what they've done for us, which is answer all your questions as you plan for retirement, no matter what your age or your income level. They'll tailor-make something that's perfect for you. It's wonderful peace of mind to know that, hey, you're putting money away, but what are you really getting for that? What are your goals? When do you want to retire? What are you expecting? Let them answer all those questions. Go to coastalcapitaladv.com to set up an appointment, that initial consultation at coastalcapitaladv.com. Member FINRA, SIPC. Got ACC Media Days going on this week. And also we will get some resolution on this Ward Manual thing at Michigan at some point later this week. That multi-million-dollar investigation has finally wound down. Michigan,
between 11 and 12 million.
Yeah, going all the way back. That law firm out of Chicago has been handling it, going all the way back to the Harbaugh stuff, the Connor Stallion stuff, and of course, the bigger portion of this, which is Chiron Moore and his relationship with Paige Shriver. I don't know, Jimmy. From everything I've read, once it gets this far, and you've spent, they didn't spend $11 million to have this law firm come back and tell them, you know what, everything was fine, everything's on the up and up, we're good. I think if you get that far, you spend that kind of money, you got to have somebody's got to be made to be blamed for this, and it certainly looks to me, maybe I'm wrong, it certainly looks to me like they are ready to blame Ward Manuel and move him along, maybe even for cause, by the end of the week. So we'll see. But
there was a Mississippi State report that suggested he would be out. So I think you're reading the tea leaves correctly.
Mississippi State.
Sorry, Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Oh, Michigan State. Yes, I would.
Somebody from that side. I think
they have a rooting interest.
Ohio State as well. Ohio State also.
Well, I'm just, he's gotten some things right, but it's worth saying.
Well, here's your constant struggle between a proud academic institution. It's usually top 10 on the U.S. News World and Report, public university rankings. Yeah. I mean, and a powerful athletic department. And what we heard, Charlie, was that the feedback once Sharon and got sideways, and then he gets arrested and all this, and makes it even worse. This was not exactly a secret. Yeah. Not exactly, it was a poorly covered secret.
What did you know, and when did you know it?
Well, but to kind of common knowledge and to prove it, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
So they wanted to spend $11 or $12 million. They brought this investigative arm in and came in and said, "Yeah, please prove this to us." I got to believe that, and he's in trouble. Brother Martin alum, 2 years after me. He graduated in '86, parade All-American, the whole bit. LSU was getting some guys out of the Catholic League out there, just in my class, man. With George Henriquez and Tommy Clapp and Roland Barbe wasn't that far, and the Hazard brothers and Nacho and Sancho linemen out of Shaw, along with Mickey Guidry. They were getting a lot. He went to Michigan. And so, but a lot of people forget that he's a New Orleans native, and you just wondered about just sort of. I think the Connor Stallion thing's a joke. That's not what they're looking at here, man. I mean, come on.
It's lumped in with everything else.
The guy was coached by Harbaugh to do what he did. He did what he did. They got caught. They got a little slap on the wrist, and he was coaching from the hotel room a couple of games. Okay, but the obvious thing, this is obvious inappropriate conduct, and I gotta believe they kind of had an idea. And we'll see, and that means his days are numbered.
Real quick before we finish. A little something to do with Dusty May, a lot to do with Dusty May, or nothing to do?
No, this started way before Dusty May left.
No, but do you think Dusty May took this job knowing that something is coming down? Do you think that had anything to do with his decision?
No.
That he's going to have to work for somebody else if Manuel's not there anymore. Manuel made a big deal out of saying right after the national championship he's going to be here for a long time, and now he's not.
If things go according to plan, they bring in it's the new AD's responsibility. It would have been to get along, coexist with Dusty May.
Sure.
So, okay, we know that sometimes, even though in theory the AD is the coach's boss, it is flipped sometimes. And we've seen that before, when a guy like Nick Saban was around here. So the thing is, Dusty May he talked about it. He's tired of playing the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. And what's the worst case? We can go fall flat on his face. He can come back to college, and it might not be exactly the job he has, but pretty comparable. What's there to get Dusty May on?
No, nothing to get Dusty May on. If just he's thinking, okay, this is going to be a firestorm. The AD is going to lose his job. I got to go through all this. I have a job here that I can take. No, nothing.
Dusty May is coming off a championship. There's less of that to be concerned with than anything.
Okay.
And he decided to leave even after his championship. All right. So we start off with the ACC and the odds-on favorite. That's right. You got to lay money for Miami to be the conference championship. SMU is second choice at 7-1, Louisville at 8-1, then a dip to Clemson at 14-1. The one that really catches my attention, Florida State tied for 9th, 10th, 11th on odds to win it all. Florida State, Charlie, with Georgia Tech and Cal. U.S. Sagapolatelli is back. Speaking of quarterbacks, coming back, C.J. Bailey is a third-year starter for NC State. The previous staff at LSU was very high on him. Louisville and Jeff Brom, they bring in an Ohio State transfer, a guy that really pushed, their current quarterback, but Lincoln Consoles, who's Brom's got there, and then Kevin Jennings, who was injured a lot of 2025. He had that horrible playoff game in Happy Valley against Penn State. But, man, he was really good in that win against Miami last year. We know how good Miami was. He lose a lot of the supporting cast, but don't worry, SMU's bringing a lot of guys. But Jennings is a guy that's interesting to kind of look at there. And then, Charlie, Darius Mensah. Darius Mensah coming in, and he's got the running back, and he's got the wide receiver, Malachi Toney. He's bringing his wide receiver. He started at Harvard, and then at Duke the last 2 years has had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving. Cooper Barkate, he is there as well. And then Virginia, who they lost their quarterback. Morris applied for a 7th year. He was denied. How about that? And he was denied. So they have a couple of transfers in. Local kid, and Eli Holstein, and also Ben Pribula, Penn State, then Missouri, now in Charlottesville. Who's going to win that job is going to be interesting.
I like
and that is
Holstein
the most experienced offensive line in college football at Virginia. They bring in 164 career starts. Of course, they went to the ACC championship game for the first time last year and got some interesting things around them. And the one thing is, Miami brought in another defensive line transfer from Missouri, but that was the constant last year. It's going to be hard to have equal how good that defensive line was a year ago.
Is there a chance Mike Norvell gets fired in the month of September?
Absolutely, and you know who
they play SMU
guess who is a little bit of a kind of a hot name they're throwing out there.
I'm not in my coach firing mode today. I'm not even thinking about it.
To make a return.
Jimbo.
You got it.
Wow.
You got it. Now he's not he's not cash strapped. Okay.
No.
Okay. But can they give him enough? You know, it's funny. The one thing about Florida State, we've always talked about this from a school perspective. They're really rolling. They're like this SEC, these southern schools, public schools that are being flooded with northern applications and nationwide applications. The admissions are not easy. They're doing really, really strong. My point is probably stronger than ever as far as the academic side, bringing in out-of-state money, being the admissions is not just a given that you're going to walk in there. Very much in the SEC footprint right now, like Tennessee and Georgia and Alabama and LSU, attracting and being so strong, with the national level.
Well, then I have to ask the question, because in 22 and 23, they won 23 games in those 2 years combined, and I watched them play LSU both of those years. And not only were they not physically deficient to LSU, there were a number of cases where they were superior to LSU, who had some pretty good talent on the field in those 2 years. What has happened in the 2 years since that you could go from that to this?
You saying they were on the same level, or Florida State was a little stronger?
I thought there were in some cases that they were a little bit
stronger.
Of course
they were stronger in some cases.
They won.
But I mean, overall.
Overall, I thought they weren't better at quarterback when Daniels was there, but they had a really good quarterback. They were better on the defensive line. I remember that for sure. They were better. There were some places they were better in the secondary. They did a better job against LSU's receivers than LSU's secondary did against them. The kid from Opelousas,
they swept the series, and one wasn't competitive.
No, the second
I would
game,
say it's pretty hard to make an argument that LSU did have as good a talent as them.
Well, the first year was the Daniels and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and all those guys. So they had talent on the field. But no, Florida State was better. So in the 2 years that have passed since then, how do you go from that good to this bad if your school is
because
on the upswing?
Because they were transfer dependent, and they were leading the charge. Everybody's doing it more now, but at that point, and they had a lot of hits on that undefeated season.
Transfer dependent implies that you have budget because you got to go. You got to pay them.
I know. Well, see, they don't have the budget where it's more all about the money now. No, they were on the front end, and they had a lot of hits, and then they tried to. No, they're not. They're getting some, but no, they don't have the SEC player budget. No, and that's and where it's become more money. That's where they are deficient, being in the ACC. They don't have an SEC budget, and they're in the SEC, geographic, footprint. So, still 11th, still Florida State, still 11th in the ACC.
They have more of a budget than Cal.
Yes,
you would think.
So that's the thing, and Dabo, we talked about it. The worst, being there that long. This is a program that had double-digit wins 13 of 14 years and 7-6 last year. And I'm still trying to figure out I don't see where this team is that talented. They didn't prove to be. And in the draft, I don't see how all these guys are being drafted. I'm still figuring out. I mean,
most likely to be the head coach where he is right now on January 1st. Mike Norvell, Dabo Swinney, Bill Belichick.
Dabo.
Wait.
Come on.
The most likely
to still be the coach where they are right
Dabo,
now.
that's not even close.
On January 1st. He thinks
Dabo.
Dabo. Yeah, that's not even close.
I mean,
That's
you're lumping
Remember you said
Dabo
that.
in with Mike Norvell.
You're going to tell me Norvell is not going to be
No,
out of there before Dabo?
No, he's the most likely, but I think Dabo's on a hotter seat than you think.
Maybe, but not that hot. Not that hot.
You're probably right.
Norvell should be gone already.
I like to ask
They won
questions.
the conference last year. I mean, a year ago. I mean, or 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. Well, this would be 3 straight losing seasons if they lose again this year.
That's not a losing season. They won a conference.
3 years ago. This would be 3 straight losing seasons if they lost this year.
They won 7-6
They made
last
a bowl
year.
game. Yeah.
They were 5-7.
Yeah. They made a bowl game.
Oh, no,
The
Florida
Penn
State.
Florida
No,
State.
wait, we're talking about Florida State. No,
Yeah,
we're talking about Clemson.
I don't know why you threw Dabo in there.
Because I think he's on a hotter seat than you think.
Maybe, but
We'll
not
see.
that hot.
There's the grumblings, and we know about that. They're publicizing some things, all right, and they're trying to figure things out. But, I mean, no. Norvell's got no chance. No chance.
Live at Walk-Ons in Brewley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Brewley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Walk-Ons in Brewley, live at lunch. So this used to be the blank sports day on the calendar, the Monday before the All-Star game.
Yeah.
No games, no nothing.
Used to be 3 days, now it's 4.
Yeah, and the Monday before was absolutely, or then the Wednesday before.
They have one
after.
game on Thursday on ESPN this year.
They do.
Just one.
They brought it back. Played the Futures game. Cade Anderson was the starting pitcher for Seattle.
Oh, he was?
Threw an inning, gave up a hit, but that was it. Anthony Ianson also pitched in the game. He threw to one batter. Got one guy out.
They
in the game.
they sort of positioned the pitching rotation for the showdown yesterday, but Mizorowski with some arm fatigue pulled out last minute. He was supposed to start against Skeens. Skeens is Pirates again, providing him a ton of run support. I mean, it is unbelievable. They sweep Milwaukee. So swept the doubleheader, including down 6-3. 8th inning grand slam. They stole game 1, and then they win game 2 by 1 run. And Skeens settled down a little bit. Where he got hit so hard against Philadelphia was not as bad as the box score saw. And I thought his performance was not quite as good as it was in the time after. This one was sort of middle of the road against a highly respected lineup. He kind of, and they gave him some run support. I think it was 3-0, 4-0, which may have calmed some things down. But he was just more like his old self a little bit in this one.
Enjoy your evening, sans most sports. I think the Home Run Derby's on tonight.
Netflix.
Yeah,
Hope
I'm
you
not
have
watching.
Netflix.
I wasn't watching that anyway.
Of course.
Thanks to our friends here at Walk-Ons
Give me
for
the
being our
Dragons.
host today here in Brewley. One of the best places to come and get a cold beer because they got over 4 dozen on tap here, including their seasonal brews. Tomorrow we're at Mike Anderson's. Have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.